Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at an interesting new supporter from the upcoming Ultra Prism expansion. Not Crimson Invasion, as I've said way too many times lately. It is Gardenia. Because, of course, we all know by now that Ultra Prism is themed after the Generation 4 games, Diamond and Pearl, the Sinnoh region. And as we have a character here from the Sinnoh region, it only makes sense. What does it do? It allows you, when you play it, to heal 80 damage from a Pokemon that has grass energy attached. And of course, because it is your supporter card, it means that it is only one per turn. Unless you play the Magnezone, which I can't imagine anyone is playing right now. It can be searched out with Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag, and if you want to reuse it, you're going to have to do something like Puzzle of Time or Lusamine. Now, the other thing to note is, like with all of these kind of cards, you can use Rainbow Energy or Counter Energy to fulfill the requirements here. Rainbow Energy counters every type of energy when it's attached, only one at a time. Counter Energy does the same thing, except it's two, and it's only when it is attached to a non-EX, non-GX Pokemon, and you are behind on prizes. Both of them will count as a grass energy so that you can go ahead and use this if you were in the mood to do so. And this card is pretty much just Gold Potion. Now, it's not quite as good as Gold Potion. Gold Potion healed 90 from your active Pokemon. This heals 80, although this heals 80 from any of your Pokemon with energy attached, whereas Gold Potion was only from your active. And Gold Potion was an A-Spec trainer card, meaning you could only have one of any A-Spec in your deck. It was pretty good. It saw a little bit of play, but it was never the best A-Spec here, unfortunately. So really here, there's a bunch of questions to ask about this. The card itself is very straightforward. Heal 80 damage from a Pokemon with a grass energy attached. So let's go through some questions. Is this better than Lana? Lana is the other card we have that looks very much like this, and Lana allows you to heal 50 damage from all of your Pokemon that have any water energy attached to it, or rainbow or counter energy. So Lana was all of your Pokemon, potentially, whereas Gardenia's only one of them, but Gardenia gets 80 and Lana only gets 50. The thing is, how many times are you actually going to have energy attached to multiple Pokemon that need healing? I would suggest probably not all that many. Of course, Lana you can combine with Manaphy from Shining Legends. Manaphy from Shining Legends allowed you once per turn to heal 20 damage from one of your Pokemon that has water energy attached to it. So Lana plus Manaphy would in fact be 70 to 1 and 50 to all the others that have damage and have water energy attached. Although, while we're going combination here, you could combine Gardenia with Ether Paradise Conservation Area, the stadium that reduces damage done to basic grass and lightning Pokemon by 30, although do remember that your opponent could always just replace a stadium or play a field blower to get rid of it, and Ether Paradise Conservation Area is one of those stadiums that annoy me, because your opponent decides if it gets used. If it's on the field when your opponent attacks, it reduces damage. So if your opponent replaces it, or if your opponent plays a field blower, it goes away. If they don't, it's still there and provides protection. Those are not generally my favourite kind of stadiums to play. And if you went with Ether Paradise Conservation Area and played some Gardenias at the same time as well, you could have yourself a little bit of a tanky deck going on here, which could be very nice, and there are some Pokemon that could use this. How about Tapu Bulu? Tapu Bulu seems like a good candidate for a card like this. 180 HP and no weakness. So let's say, for argument's sake, let's take an example, a widely used one. How about Golisopod GX? They hit you for 120 with Ether Paradise Conservation Area. That's only actually 90 damage. Then you play a Gardenia, you heal right down to 10 damage remaining, and the only way they can KO you is with Crossing Cut GX while using a Choice Band. Whereas normally they just hit you for 120, then hit you for another 120, and even if you've got a Fighting Fury belt attached, you will go down to those 2 first impression attacks. There is some tankiness here, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you don't use Ether Paradise Conservation Area, they hit you for 120, you heal down to 40, and then they can only KO you if they have a choice band and you don't have a Fighting Fury belt. So there is some tankiness to be had here, and actually while we're here, anything that uses Vikavolt would be a good candidate for Gardenia here, because you attach the energy with Vikavolt, and then you can go and immediately heal. It could be fun. How about the other widely played grass deck at the moment, Golisopod GX? Now, in theory, this is pretty good. 210 HP, now it's got a weakness to fire, which is a little bit of awkwardness if Volcanion comes around, and even though Volcanion's not seeing a lot of play at the moment, it's pretty much been around since it was released, so let's say we should expect it to see an increase in play in the not too distant future. As long as you're not playing against Volcanion, there's not many things that get a one-hit KO on Golisopod. So they hit you, you can then heal down and off you go. Here's the problem. Golisopod decks generally don't just want to heal, they want to get into the active every turn, because if they haven't become active that turn, you do 30 damage with first impression. If you have become active that turn, you do 120 with first impression. That's quite a big difference. Ace Roller allows you to do this. You pick up one Golisopod, pop another one in the active, and then you do first impression for 120. Or you play a Guzma to promote another Golisopod in the active so you can hit for 120. Here's the thing. I play a lot of Golisopod. It's one of my favourite decks. I want a League Cup with Golisopod. I like it a lot. One of the annoying things if you start going down the Ace Roller game plan is that you only ever end up having one energy on a Golisopod. You are essentially reattaching the same energy every turn. This gets kind of annoying. Whereas if you're healing with something like Gardenia, and unlike Max Potion, you're not discarding the energy, so you do just get to keep the energy on there and off you go, then what you can actually do is just heal and pop a double colorless on there. Then you can be using Armor Press. Now, Armor Press is kind of like an inbuilt Ether Paradise Conservation Area. Now, it only reduces damage done by 20 the following turn rather than by 30. But of course, it also gives you the lovely advantage that your opponent can't just play a field blower to get around it. They've actually got to respect it and hit something on the bench, or it's reduced by 20. And a combination of Gardenia and Golisopod using Armor Press could work, and that would give you an advantage over something like Ace Roller, because Ace Roller means you have to continually attach the energy. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is a replacement for Ace Roller in Golisopod decks. I think that generally Golisopod decks will continue to play Ace Roller. I'm just saying it's something to consider. It's another tactic to put into your back pocket. And the one thing that really makes a supporter card like this viable is Zoroark GX and its trade ability. Because generally we don't want to be using something like this. We want to play something like a Professor Sycamore, or we want to play something like an N, so that we can draw more cards, so that we can get our energy, we can have a supporter for next turn, we can draw into our evolutions, our choice bands, etc. But with Zoroark GX you can use trade, discard one card from your hand and draw the top 2 cards of your deck. And that means that you're not so reliant on your supporter cards to draw extra cards. So you can then be more reliant on something like a Gardenia to then heal your Pokemon. And let's face it, Golisopod Zoroark won the European International Championships very recently in London, the biggest tournament Europe's ever seen. And you've got a grass Pokemon that could heal with Gardenia, and you've got a Pokemon that draws cards such that you don't need to worry about using your supporter card for the turn to draw, so you have got a bit more leeway here to play a supporter like this. I'm not saying it's an amazing supporter. I'm not saying it's going to see a huge amount of play in every deck. What I am saying is it's useful, and as much as Lana heals all of your Pokemon, 50 isn't that much. 80 is significantly better. And if you combine it with something like a Tapu Bulu and an Ether Paradise Conservation Area, or you use it on a Golisopod so you can use Armor Press and really keep the energy on there, I think there is a little bit of potential here. I am giving this a very generous free Wassies. Remember, free Wassies means you need it in your binder, you might want to play it in a deck at some point in the future. And I think this is on the real low end of free Wassies. But if I'm playing a grass deck and I've got draw like Zoroark, I am going to be considering this. And for that reason, I think free Wassies is about apt. But if you disagree with me, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful. Let me know in the comment section. Tell me what decks this could see playing. Tell me how good you think this could be. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.